I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. It begins!
Black Iron Kong, the heavy zone look android. Jet black armor, thick and red neon eyes. Black Iron Kong marches to unbind the cries of stolen tech. Black Iron Kong will fight against the Cinemas Iron Kong's might. 8 Zoids of Empire and Republic Iron Kong and Black Iron Kong class click. Black Iron Kongs, built from stolen designs. Black Iron Kong and war theft cross the lines. Black Iron Kong, machine beasts of raw steel. Black Iron Kong, let neon eyes appeal. Bolts and levers, grindings they will rage. Humiliation at Republic rage. Black Iron Kongs bear heroic coats of arms. So the Empire sound the battle alarms. But then the arms race will only ensue. The Empire forges Iron Kong Mark II. Superior to Black Iron Kong now. We must upgrade too, for we must not bow. Black Iron Kongs, built from stolen designs. Black Iron Kong and war theft cross the lines. Black Iron Kong, machine beasts of raw steel. Black Iron Kong, let neon eyes appeal. Now Alec resorts to espionage. Steal the Cinemas plans and sabotage. Stolen tech makes Black Iron come anew. Now you're the match, Black Iron come Mark II. Steel hands, forge it back and wherever a Zoidstar. God of the Lord, protector will battle far. Little Gore will a forge and blue Zoid farm. God the Lord, protector brings iron storm. Striding out on the planet towards our sky. Gore searches for red mutant Zoids to fry. God the Lord, protector, red Zoids he'll fight. Protector brings blue Zoid light. God the Lord Protector, Guardian Call. God the Lord Protector will battle all. Second of the blue Zoids to Zoidzilla. Gore is the second strongest red Zoid killer. Defending Guardian lands with red eyes. The Lord Protector lies for red Zoid cries. From the shadows rises Silverman, mad android with his insidious plan, constructing Zoids of twisted steel and fire. The black Zoid brings his techno heart's desire. God the Lord Protector, red Zoids he'll fight. God the Lord Protector brings blue Zoid light. God the Lord Protector, Guardian Call. God the Lord Protector will battle all. Gore strikes the first blow, casting the abomination down low. From his cruel steel soul it rises anew, to cut down Gore and leave his head at you. God the Lord Protector, red Zoids he'll fight. God the Lord Protector brings blue Zoid light. God the Lord Protector, Guardian Call. God the Lord Protector will battle all. Zoid light. God the Lord Protector, Guardian Call. God the Lord Protector will battle all.
for free. In the night I feel them calling from far beyond the sea. Soon comes the time of destruction, when the war began to rise. Weapons with multiple functions. There's no place where you can stay alright. In the night I hear them coming, marching towards the world cities, and soon the bombs are falling, but still we hope for peace, not war. And now I see them coming, marching towards the cities, as the bombs are covered falling, but still we cry for peace, cry for peace, not war.
It is the never-ending battle between red and blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight.
I, the Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.